Hi, everybody. I wanted to just document what I'm going through because I know when I was diagnosed with a Chiari malformation with syringomyelia, which is a cyst in your spinal cord, I did a lot of searching for any information I could find because I didn't know what it was. I had no idea. The few things that I found was helpful. Most things that I found were from a hospital or they were productions, and they were great information, but I was really desperately looking for real life stories of people that had, experienced what I was experiencing, and just to see what their, the treatment, the outcome, all that kind of stuff was. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to document it. I am actually scheduled for surgery on Tuesday, which today's Sunday. So I've got 2 days to go before I go in for my brain decompression surgery. And I'm not going to lie, I'm anxious about it. I do have a specialist who is my neurosurgeon, and I'm thrilled with her, and I know that I'm in good hands. So I'm not really scared about that, but I'm still nervous because, hello, it's, opening the covering of the brain. So, it's nerve-wracking and scary and all the things. But I do have faith that she is an amazing surgeon, and she is a specialist with a Chiari malformation. She does these surgeries often. So where this condition is pretty rare, I think it's really important to find a specialist if you can. So that's kind of one of my main recommendations. If you're looking at this as a newly diagnosed person, try to find a specialist. That's important. I did see a local neurosurgeon, and I really felt kind of brushed off. They told me that I checked all the boxes to have the surgery, but it's up to you if you want to do it. That's kind of how the reaction that I got, which was a little shocking, but I was like, okay, so, what do you do? I don't know. What do you do? So you find a specialist, and when I went and saw the specialist, which I saw them 3 or 4 days after that appointment. So, and she said, yes, I definitely had to have this surgery. She wanted it scheduled almost right away, because I do have the syrinx, the cyst in my spine. So when you have that, along with the Chiari malformation, the surgery, it's inevitable. You really need to have that done because without it, the cyst can continue to grow, which can cause nerve damage and a host of things. And unfortunately, the cyst, I guess, has been growing in my spine for a very long time. And just within the last year has really started giving me nerve, symptoms have really started showing. I really haven't had a ton of symptoms my lifetime. When I was young, a kid and teenager, I would have horrible headaches, but I just chalked them up to headaches and allergies and things like that. I didn't realize, that I had this condition. And then looking back, I would have like heart palpitations and just feel like blood rushing in my head. And that's actually connected to this condition too. But probably in the last, probably 10 months, I'd say, really is when it's really started being life-changing or life-affecting, I should say. One of the main things is like driving. I've gotten really anxious about driving, and the reason is because I start feeling like I'm having like vertigo feelings. So, like short trips, it's not so bad, but like when I'm driving any distance, it'll start feeling almost like I can't get focused, or if I turn my head, it's almost like I'm spinning. It's very weird. So that's a main thing. um Arm numbness, hand numbness, just like almost feeling like my arms have like 20-pound weights on them. um that is really strange. My right side seems worse than the left side. um Mild headaches, my head feels heavy, tingling in my face, numbness, um vocal cord, like clearing my throat constantly, that is tied to this. My vocal cords getting raspy and kind of weak, that's tied to this. There's so many things just tied to it. It's crazy. So a lot of doctors will miss this condition because it kind of mimics other things. So it's really important for you to advocate for yourself if you are having issues and you know your body. If you feel things and like me, I what triggered all of this this testing, because I was finally sent to get a CAT scan back in 2021. I had COVID, and when I would cough, I would feel like my head was going to explode. Like I would cough, and I can't even tell you how painful it was. It would feel like my head was literally going to explode and I was going to just drop dead. It was horrible. It was just the worst thing ever. And after I got, over the sickness, it went away. Like the pain would go away. And actually it would go away pretty quickly. After I would cough, I would get the pain and I'd be like, oh, and then it would subside. So when I would tell my primary care physician about it, they didn't think it was important because the pain didn't last. I was concerned because I had a family member have a brain aneurysm. So that's what I was thinking this was. I was thinking, oh my gosh, I probably have a brain aneurysm because it's been in my family before. And so the doctor was like, no, unless it's lasting pain, don't worry about it. I was like, okay, I'm not a doctor, so I let it go. I listened to what they said. But every time I would cough or laugh hard or, have any type of like, straining, I guess, of anything like that, I would get these pains in my head, and they're like excruciating, but they go away. It's not lasting pain. So every time I would go back to the doctor, which was every 6 months, I'd go back and I would say about this head pain. And I continued to just hear, oh, it's nothing. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. So in April of this year, this is 2024. In April, I got a cold or whatever and coughed, and just the pain was so bad in my head. I was like, you know what? I'm going to find a new primary care physician because I need someone to listen to me. And I found a local physician. He's amazing. And I got in his office very quickly. I was surprised because in my town, it's very hard to get an appointment anywhere, it seems like. But I got into his office pretty quickly. I told him about what was going on, and he sent me to get a CAT scan just because. He said, you know what, let's rule out anything. We'll get the CAT scan, and if it is an aneurysm or if you have anything else going on, it'll come up. Well, I got the appointment for the CAT scan very quickly. And the next morning after the CAT scan, my new doctor was on the phone with me first thing in the morning. And he told me, he said, there is no aneurysm, but did you know you had a Chiari malformation? And I'm like, a what? I have no idea what you're talking about. So he said, you have a Chiari malformation. Sorry. And that's basically where your brain is herniating out of your skull and putting pressure on your spinal cord. It's coming out, pushing on your spinal cord. Well, that's something that, you don't hear every day. All I heard was brain herniation, and we're making an appointment at a neurosurgeon. That's just crazy to me. So instantly I'm like, doing the Google search. What is a Chiari malformation? I didn't even know how to spell it. I had to find it. And I'm reading everything and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm freaking out. So that day was horrible. I was crying, just a horrible day. Trying to learn about all these things. And then learning, reading about the brain decompression surgery and all the things that go along with that. And I was just freaking out. So if you are newly diagnosed and you're watching this now, you're probably freaking out. And that's normal. But I'll tell you, everything that I've researched and everything, you're going to be okay. We're going to be okay. But it's scary. It's very scary. So, sorry, this throat thing, can't do anything about it. So, anyway, I don't even know where I was going with it. So anyway, the doctor called me, told me that. I got in with my local neurosurgeon, which my doctor's office, fantastic, got me in there that Friday. So he called me on Tuesday morning. I had the neurosurgeon, the initial appointment on that Friday. And, yeah, so they, ordered MRIs. So I had to get a brain MRI, an MRA, which checks the arteries and veins and all that. And then I got MRIs of my cervical, thoracic, and lumbar spine. So the 3 sections, basically, of your spine. And it came back that I did have, of course, the Chiari malformation, which the herniation, the size of your herniation does not matter. But mine was an 8mm herniation. If you need to know that, whatever. Anything over 5mm is considered a Chiari malformation, but some people have less than that herniated and still have the same problems. So just, make sure you have a specialist. That's important. So anyway, so 8mm herniation. I had the syrinx, the cyst in my spine, goes from, I want to say it's the C3 or C4 vertebrae down to, gosh, I could be wrong. I want to say my thoracic. It's either 8 or 11. I'm not sure, but it's like basically almost my entire cervical and thoracic spine has this cyst. So yeah. So you can't get anything done about the cyst except have the brain decompression surgery, which will increase or it'll allow your cerebral spinal fluid. And I'm not a doctor. I may be mispronouncing all of this, so just bear with me. With the decompression surgery, it makes it so your fluid will flow in the correct way. When it's not flowing in the correct way, it can cause the fluid to go wherever it can find. And that's what happened in my case. it found a way into the spinal cord. So that's why this cyst was created. And the hope is having the decompression surgery will correct the flow, and then that cyst, the fluid that's in the cyst, will go into the natural flow of things, and it'll like either just empty itself and collapse, because there's no way you can surgically remove that. It just has to drain itself with the surgery, and that's the hope. Best case scenario is that totally drains. I get total, all my feeling back in my arms and legs. Don't have any of the weakness, the discomfort, the face tingling, and all that good stuff. Gosh, sorry. When the surgery happens, they will remove part of my skull, like at the base of my skull, right by the spinal cord. They will open the covering of my brain, and they'll, this is my understanding, okay, that they will, it's almost like they're splitting, they go behind the brain to the spinal cord, or the brain stem or something. It's behind the brain. And there's like this, I don't know if they're ligaments or what it is, but she explained it as it's almost like spider webbing. And that is why I'm getting like this choking feeling. It's from that spider webbing, whatever it is. They'll cut that, so that will loosen. And they will, there's at the bottom of the brain, they're called tonsils. It's not the tonsils in your throat, it's the tonsils on the bottom base of the brain. They will cauterize those, and so they'll shrivel, so they'll be smaller. They don't have any use. They're not for anything. The back of your brain is for like your balance and movement, stuff like that. But this part of your brain doesn't have any function. So they're going to cauterize those to make it smaller, so I have more room in my skull. They'll then close my brain with a patch. So the covering of your brain is called the dura. So they'll open that, and she'll put a patch in, so the covering of my brain is larger. So it gives my brain more room. And then when they close my skull, there's like a plastic thing that she will close it up with titanium screws. So I have a couple screws in my head. So anyway, so there's that. And she did say that it's very painful. And the reason it's painful is because the muscles that they have to like move from your neck. I will have my C1 vertebrae, the back of that, they will take the back of the vertebrae off, just to give more room. She didn't think they would have to take the C2, but in some cases, some people do get the C2 removed on the back as well, just to give your brain more room. But yeah, so it's a lot. But anyway, I didn't want this to be very long, but it's going to be long anyway. But if you're like me and you were looking for this, you don't mind. You just want to hear somebody else with the same experience. Just for personal information, I'm 54 years old. Got diagnosed at 53 years old. Apparently had a lifetime. The dura of my brain will be open. Some people don't get the covering of the brain opened. In my case, it will be. So yeah, I think I've just about covered it. Let me see. Oh, another thing that I've had this year is like feeling like every time I swallow, it feels like food gets stuck here. And that was another thing that, like, it's almost like a heartburn type feeling, but it's not. It's like, it's weird. So if you're getting that, that could be part of this whole thing too, if you've been diagnosed and having that. Let's see. I think that's about all. Look, I've got my list of all the things that I was dealing with. So when I went to the neurosurgeon, I had my list of everything. And that was very helpful to write everything down. That way you're not thinking about it, because brain fog is related to this. And Lord knows I got some brain fog. So anyway, it's helpful to write everything down. Let's see what else. Anyway, so my surgery is in 2 days, and I will give an update afterwards. The first night I'll end up staying in the ICU from what they say, just because it's, it's a major surgery. But they're thinking, if everything goes well, the pain is the main issue. As long as the pain is manageable, then I could be home. I should be home hopefully by the weekend. So if for some reason we can't get that under control, then, I'll go from there. But anyway, I'll give an update, and I'm going to post this on my YouTube. So if you want to follow along or whatever, you can just, like my channel, and I'll put my updates on there. And hopefully they won't be too terribly long. But if you're like me and you're looking for, someone else that has this condition, then I'm sure you don't mind. But anyway, we're all going to be okay. Just, if you're newly diagnosed, hang in there. It's a roller coaster, but I'll let you know how mine ends. All right. Take care.